I mean, that's a great fight. Shakur is a hell of a talent. Um, I don't think that he's Devin at all. But we'll see. We hear a lot of, the media and jumping in the ring. Like Devin always says, you got to put some substance with it and talk to the right people and do the right things and do it the right way, and let's make it happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that he's ready. My guy is ready. These guys don't want to do it, you know what I mean? And then when I said that they say everything except let's fight, that same phrase that we coined on Champ Side Boxing, it's standing to be even more true.
Bill Haney blasted Shakur Stevenson live, accusing him of ducking real challenges after a Devin Haney fight offer surfaced. He questioned Stevenson's willingness to face elite competition and demanded he prove himself in the ring.
Shakur's interview where he said that he might fight Devin at 47 if he was on the rehydration clause.
He had an opportunity and we weren't. There was no clauses, there was none of that, you know what I mean? Obviously with them, the time will be right for them to fight, now, you know what I'm saying? The weight that they fight at, they've always been one weight behind each other or one weight after. Shakur will come up, you know what I mean? Devin will be at that weight for, have been campaigning at that weight. It's on him. You know what I mean? It's on him. He knows that he's going to get this fade sooner or later. So it's only a matter of time. Obviously, we can't go down. We can't go down to 135. So he would have to come up, and he can get this work anytime. He ready.
Haney mocked Shakur as Twitterson, accusing him of talking more online than fighting top opponents. He said a Devin Haney fight offer was real and challenged Shakur to stop tweeting and sign the contract.
Every time Devin got a fight, here come Twitterson. Here come Twitterson. I'm telling you, every time he got a fight, here come Twitterson. And even when we tried to negotiate with Twitterson, right? We tried to talk to him, he came back out and started tweeting. That's why they changed it to X.
Bill Haney addressed Shakur Stevenson's rehydration clause demands, arguing Team Haney isn't protecting Devin. Haney suggested Shakur should accept fair terms and fight, instead of adding conditions that complicate negotiations and delay a major matchup.
I want your thoughts on Shakur saying he not fighting Dev unless he got a rehydration clause.
In or around the division, every bad motherfucker around Devin has gotten an offer to fight, or they've been in the ring, or, who else has that happened with? All the fights that the people want to see Devin fight, the person that got either a contract or Devin and got in the ring with him. Can we say that about anybody else? Shakur got a contract. Got a boot. Yes, he got a contract opportunity. The lawyer sat down. When you talk about an offer, so we're 100% correct in our legal descriptive of it. He got an offer for a certain amount of money and a certain opportunity that was legacy defining. Boots got an offer and an opportunity, legacy. Teofimo Lopez, he got an opportunity, legacy. Lomachenko, Tank Davis, he got an opportunity. Tell me, who am I missing? You tell me somebody that's didn't happen with.
Devin Haney also publicly rejected the idea of a strict rehydration clause, saying it would weaken him on fight night. He argued he can't perform at his best with limits on how much weight he can gain after the weigh-in. Haney maintained he wants big fights, but not under conditions that could hurt his performance.
Yeah, truthfully, I wouldn't and I couldn't do the rehydration clause. At the end of the day, I'm the man with the belt, I'm the man with the hardware. If it was a rehydration clause, it would be something that I wouldn't do.
Mickey Bay opposes adding a rehydration clause to a potential Stevenson-Haney fight. He believes elite fighters shouldn't restrict each other's weight after the weigh-in. If they agree to compete, they should simply fight under normal rules.
When you hear that Stevenson wants a rehydration clause with Devin, knowing that this has been a rivalry for a while, what do you think about that? Like, what was your reaction to that?
Believe in rehydration clauses unless the fighter's overweight. If a fighter's overweight, by all means. But if you want to fight a guy I think you should just fight him. I ain't saying that I'm only not with them two, no, because he not that much bigger than Shakur. They always been like one weight apart. But I'm saying some fights may be an exception, but I don't think fighters that good need him. Floyd, well, he did it, I think, against Canelo, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, I ain't gonna bring him up because Floyd is Floyd. Like he, you know. But
yeah, we're gonna get into him in a second too.
Yeah, Floyd is Floyd. Like at the end of the day, but when it comes to boxing,
in his view, special weight limits are only justified when a boxer fails to make the contracted weight. Otherwise, he argues, a few extra pounds can significantly boost strength, durability, and overall performance, creating an unfair competitive edge.
But no, with Ben and Shakur, I don't think he need one. So I would rather have more money than pay him more. And then because if you could beat him, I think he could just beat him, flat out beat him. Sometimes a weight advantage ain't always good.
No, but Shakur wants it with Devin too.
No, that don't need a weight. That don't need one either. If you're gonna fight a guy, just fight him. And then say if the fighter's overweight, then it should be a weight clause. That should be a rule. What in boxing, like if a fighter's a certain amount of pounds overweight, if you want to make the fight happen, it should be a weight clause. Like when Ryan came over like that, all of that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it should be a huge penalty. Like, because that's an advantage, like a huge advantage. If you tell most dudes in boxing, they get 3, 4 pounds over their weight, the day of the fight or the day before, they gonna be a whole different. You're gonna have a huge advantage.
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. has praised Shakur Stevenson for his recent performance, especially his victory over Teofimo Lopez, calling the fight beautiful and highlighting his discipline and tactical skill in the ring. He compared Stevenson's style to the defensive brilliance of Floyd Mayweather, while noting that Shakur has been willing to face top opponents rather than avoid them. However, some observers note defensive quirks in Stevenson's movement, with suggestions that his distance control and footwork could be tightened so he doesn't drift too far out of effective range after slipping or blocking punches, something that can open opportunities for aggressive opponents.
Shakur Stevenson is a very good fighter, but you gotta learn, and I will hope he will pay attention to this because this is gonna mean a lot for him. Mm-hmm. His feet are good, but sometimes they take him too far out of range to be able to come back and counter. Mm-hmm. The last guy he fought, the guy was a good puncher, so when he was jumping back, he was jumping too far back out of range to where he couldn't come back and get something right away. You understand me? And for the fans, it starts to look bored.
That's how I'd say. I feel like he was running.
He really ain't running. He just don't understand that distance. Somebody got to teach him. And I would teach him if they ever brought him to me, let me teach him. But he got to understand what I'm trying to tell him. I'm not trying to criticize him.
Right.
When you say something bad, they take it as criticism.
Right.
No, son. You got to understand how to not jump. Okay. People know what the thing that dig the hole, the excavator, right? Yeah. If you move that thing back too far, you can't reach the job. Right. It's got to work, but it got to stay on the job while it work. You can't take it out of review. You working with this because this part keeps it on the job, the feet. This do the work. If you take the thing and move it back, it's off the job. It can't work no more. Right. So if you move it back every time off the job, it ain't gonna ever get no work done. So now it's gonna become boring. Why? It ain't doing nothing.
Because of that, he sometimes misses chances to counterattack. Jones thinks staying a little closer would help Stevenson land counters and take advantage of opponents' mistakes more effectively. Still, Jones's overall view is positive, seeing Stevenson as elite with potential to become even better with continued refinement.
It started on the hold and it moved to another one. When we gonna get a pond dug? We're not, because it's taking off the job too much. You gotta leave it on the job for it to get a pond dug. And that's his only thing. He a great fighter. He got great eyesight. He has great reaction time. He gonna be a great fighter. He just gotta figure out how to use them feet a little different.
Is he the best defensive fighter out of all four of them?
Right now, defensive, yes, because his defense is with his feet. That's what people don't understand. Defense isn't with your hands, it's with your feet. And he has the best foot defense of the game. Mm-hmm. So if he uses it for defense, when it's strictly defense, yes. But when you want to make it offensive, you can't do the same. You gotta cut it in half. And that's the only thing he had a problem with. Once he learns that or figures that out, he gonna kill him.
Would the skill he has now make him the best out of them four?
Right now, no. Because some people gonna say, boy, and the reason the rest of them don't want to fight him is because they know he know that back foot game so well that he's not gonna engage until he wants to engage. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing too, But for the fans and to be
Not right now.
The ratings, you gotta be able to engage when they need you to engage. If you can't, then you're gonna become bored.
With both fighters firmly among boxing's elite, many observers believe now is the ideal moment for Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson to finally meet in the ring. Haney remains a top pound-for-pound talent and has openly called for the matchup, calling it the next big fight in the sport. Stevenson, fresh off a dominant title win and climbing the divisions, has the credentials and momentum to make this a major event if negotiations align. With both fighters in peak form and fan interest high after recent big performances, a showdown could deliver one of boxing's most compelling matchups, provided they agree on terms and conditions.
This fight now is even more juicy than it was the first time around when they were talking about it. When they were talking about it the first time around, Haney was red hot as undisputed lightweight champion, and Shakur was the boogeyman who was very good, but was having trouble locking in those big
insider
names.
boogeyman.
Right. I gotta be honest, man. Like this could, if this happens right now, this is the right timing too, because both are at a good moment in their careers.
Very high.
It's actually,
and there's a title on the line.
It's actually simmered better than it had back then, and back then it was really something that you wanted to see, but now because of Shakur's recent performance and Haney still being undefeated and having righted the ship, winning as an underdog against Brian Norman, I rate that. I rate when you take on a fight as an underdog and you win it. I rate that. You know, that's why Haney, for me, got into the circle of trust, because he wasn't trying to milk the whole business like Gervonta Davis has. So he's taking on these kind of challenges. He's winning them. He built himself up to that level to now, okay, take on all comers. Win or lose, take on all comers. He's got that win over Norman as an underdog. You can say what you want post in hindsight. In foresight, a lot of people were picking against Haney. He gets that win. Shakur, in the meantime, makes his name bigger. You gotta pump those numbers up, and he pumped those numbers up by winning the Shakur the Teofimo Lopez fight. Now, you know what? Okay, now there's an interest from both fighters. A lot more money, a lot more at stake, a lot more, again, ambition. I like to use that word ambition today. And I think a lot more people will be interested in it than the first time.
Shakur Stevenson has talked about growing up in the same amateur boxing circles as Devin Haney, noting they've sparred and competed around each other for years, and that experience helped shape both fighters' development. Stevenson has claimed he often came out on top in those early encounters and used those battles to sharpen his skills against elite competition, pushing him toward professional success. He's repeatedly said he wants the biggest fights possible, including with Haney, and that knowing one another from the amateurs adds intrigue to a potential pro matchup. While negotiations and conditions have stalled a Haney fight, Stevenson's past with him in the amateur ranks is part of why many fans believe a pro showdown would be significant.
Me and Devin, we came up together like in the amateurs. I used to go to his house down in Vegas. He used to live in like a big ass mansion, and I was kind of like, I was like a broke young nigga from the trenches at the time. But when I seen like the way he was living, that shit kind of motivated me, and it made me want to like work harder and get to that kind of status. But he really like it was his dad money at that time though. So
his dad, yeah. So what exactly did his dad do to have that much money?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I know that nigga was rich though.
Recently, Devin Haney publicly called out Shakur Stevenson on social media, declaring that a fight between them would be the next biggest fight in boxing, and strongly suggesting it would generate a huge payday for both men. Haney framed it as a marquee matchup that fans want, and that could elevate both careers. Stevenson responded to Haney's call out more cautiously. Rather than dismissing it outright, he quoted Haney's post and warned, "Be careful what you ask for, things might just happen," leaving the door open without committing to a deal. His reply was measured, signaling interest, but also maintaining negotiating leverage.
Yesterday, media, I'm doing the media stuff yesterday. I'm going around. Devin talked a little bit of shit. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, man, I seen some of this shit.
A little something. He said, one of the things they asked him, they asked him about his biggest payday or something, and he was like, every time anybody fight me, it's the biggest payday. He said, I offer Shakur his biggest payday.
I know where you going.
That's what he said.
Cap.
Yeah.
He just capping for like social media. Like, he not gonna be like realistic about the situation. The thing, like the behind the scenes, like, I talk to these people behind the scenes too. It ain't like he's the only person who's having conversations behind the scene. I know the full numbers of everything. I know what the number was when they was going to present the fight. It wasn't more than what I made in my last 3 fights. It's less than what I made in my last 3 fights. And that man getting way more, you feel me, than he ever made in his entire career to fight me. So it's like, you capping, like you going on social media capping and trying to spread lies to keep your name good. Like that's what I see from him, man.
Stevenson has addressed the narrative around negotiations with Devin Haney in the past, emphasizing that the purse split offer wasn't what some have portrayed and that he didn't simply refuse a great deal. According to multiple reports, Haney's camp is said to have proposed a 75-25 split in favor of Haney, meaning Stevenson would get 25% of the purse for a potential undisputed lightweight fight, which Stevenson considered too low given his accomplishments and standing in the sport. Stevenson stated publicly that 25% ain't it, and that he knew his worth, adding that he hadn't heard a better offer after that initial proposal. Stevenson has also suggested that the reported negotiations were not formalized and that the so-called offer might have been exaggerated or used for public narrative.
He's not gonna be a real nigga in the situation because he, look who his father is.
Hold on, but if that would have been on pay-per-view, you wouldn't have made more money with it on pay-per-view, like with the way everything
We never got into that conversation. I don't know. I never got into that conversation. So even the part where he said, what the f he said? He said, man,
the 25% thing, you seen that?
No, he said he offered me a
flat fee. Yeah, flat fee.
Cap, like all of that shit.
No flat fee?
Man,
he said for the flat fee
said that I
first, and then
said
you
no,
said no, and
exactly.
then they said, I had 25%.
Cap. None of that never happened. None of that shit.
Yeah.
It just became a 25%. That's what was offered. And honestly, I didn't really even get the offer. Somebody, big powers at Top Rank called me about this shit. I'm like, what the f? Hell no, we definitely not doing that. Like, that's dead. But nah, he's capping. He making us just to feel good about himself.
However, arranging this dream fight might not be as easy as it looks, as Shakur Stevenson became embroiled in a dispute with WBC when he sought to fight at a higher weight of 140 for another organization's title while retaining his WBC belt. According to WBC rules, any reigning champion who wishes to fight in a different weight class must formally request permission to keep their title. This policy has existed for decades and is designed to protect the value and legitimacy of championships. Stevenson's management made initial verbal requests, but the WBC required a formal written petition to proceed. Despite repeated follow-ups, including communication with his promoter and legal representatives, Stevenson's team failed to submit the required paperwork. As a result, the WBC vacated rather than stripped his lightweight title. Mauricio Suleiman, WBC president, emphasized that the organization acted according to its rules, which apply equally to all champions.
Okay, so let me just ask this. Let me interrupt quickly. Why does Shakur Stevenson need the WBC's permission to fight in a different weight class for a different sanctioning body's title?
Because he requested that permission. If you want to keep your title, there are specific rules, and these rules have been in place for decades. When you are a champion in the WBC or any other organization, you have benefits from being a champion. When you are to engage in a non-title bout or in a title bout on another weight category, up or down, you need to receive the permission from the organization to do so. And that's what we have been consistent. It has happened so many times with many fighters. There's precedent.
Why is Shakur Stevenson no longer the champion?
Thank you. Let me give you the full story. We received a call from his management in which they requested the WBC to have Shakur Stevenson fight on a different weight category while maintaining the lightweight championship, and being this a WBC event, which even they asked for a special belt for the fight. We explained clearly that that is within the WBC rules, and that I would be very happy to convey that to the board and make it happen, because Shakur has been associated with WBC since 2019. I told his management they needed to send a written request in order to start all the process. From that point on, we had another couple of conversations. They were supposed to send a written request which didn't happen.
Additionally, the WBC requested a sanctioning fee of $120,000 for allowing Stevenson to fight in another weight class while retaining his title. This fee is based on a percentage of the fighter's purse and is standard for special events. Mauricio argues that the fee is not meant to be punitive, but reflects the market value of holding a WBC championship. He also notes that the fee can be adjusted if the fighter or promoter demonstrates that it is excessive relative to the purse. Stevenson criticized this requirement, feeling the amount was excessive and unnecessary for a nominal sanctioning role. Mannix argued that such rules can alienate top fighters and limit flexibility in managing careers. Mauricio defended the policy, stating that the rules ensure consistency, preserve the legitimacy of titles, and uphold social responsibility in boxing.
Insisting on them we tried everything to avoid this situation. What we send is the WBC approves your petition to fight, and according to the WBC rules, a fee of $120,000, which is less than the 3% that should be, which they, by the way, they can contest and say, no, we're not making this amount, we are making this, and we have done it many times. We have adjusted the sanction fees when the promoter or the manager or the fighter proves that it is less. Since we had zero communication from their side, we initiated that and we put $120,000 fee on they've been saying he made 7 or 10 million or whatever. We had zero response. The only response was, we receive it, we will address this later today.
Is Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney really the biggest fight in boxing right now, or just overrated hype? Drop your opinion in the comments.